What is going on, everyone? Next talk with Hayden here. Give me 1 second, everyone. Let me fix my audio. The Mets suck, so my audio is gonna suck. Give me 1 moment. Stand by. Alrighty, that should be good. But yeah, what is going on, everyone? Mets talk with Hayden here. So you can tell I am home from school, so that is good to see. The Mets suck. They really do. Usually I know I hate starting streams like so disorganized and so unusual like this, but yeah, I mean, it's really rough right now. But yeah, what's going on, everyone? Mets talk with Hayden here. I hope everyone is doing to an extent well. I am doing, I guess, well besides the Mets. Obviously, in today's stream, we are going to be covering the New York Mets and the Colorado Rockies series summary, talking about really what went wrong and the few things that went well in that series. We're going to be going over a lot. This is going to be a rage rant stream. We're going to be going over the struggles with this team, with the offense, with the pitching. We're going to talk about the farm system and, of course, Billy Epler and management as the Mets go on to lose the game just now. Big surprise there. And then, of course, we are going to get into some of your guys' comments, questions, and concerns. I see we got a ton of people in the chat, so don't worry. We're definitely going to be getting your guys' comments, questions, concerns, all of that great stuff. So if you have anything that you want to comment, definitely please do, and I will get into that as soon as I am done with my rant. Probably just going to go on a 25 to 30-minute rant, it seems, at this point. But yeah, I appreciate it. I see we got a couple new people in the chat, so I appreciate that. But yeah, obviously a really rough series, and I'm really surprised. I'm kind of putting on a poker face right now. If it was up to me, I would throw chairs and go ballistic. I will warn you, there is going to be some foul language in this stream. So if you're not keen on that, or you don't want any foul language, I would recommend signing off. But yeah, otherwise, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. But yeah, the Mets fucking suck. They fucking suck. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Let's get into that disgrace of a Mets and Rockies series. Let's shut off the game. Let's watch a real ball club play. Yeah, the Mets fucking suck. Point blank simple. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Getting into that Mets and Rockies series, it was a disaster. You go into game one, which was Friday's game. Things look good. You win the game. 1-0. Little offense, but the pitching held down the fort. You won a ball game. Nobody cares. Kodai Senga comes in, 6 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts. He looked good. Senga looked a little bit different this appearance. You know, had a little time with the complexities with the walks, location. But the biggest thing with Senga that he looked good with was the ghost forkball was landing in the strike zone. That's a good put-away pitch for him, but he attacked the zone more, and his command improved much more. We've seen in past outings he'd have a hard time locating the zone. His stuff would be filthy, but, you know, the offenses, the opposing teams would later click on, okay, put-away pitch, it's going to be outside. I'm not going to chase. And that's what he did. He got this Rockies team to chase. He got them to go after these pitches, and you saw he got ground ball outs, a lot of light contact. The ghost forkball and the fastball was a really nice 1-2 punch for Senga. He really looked good. And the bullpen backed him up. Drew Smith came in, an inning, a hit, 2 strikeouts. David Robertson, a little bit of a jam, but was able to get out of it. An inning, a hit, 2 walks. Like I said, able to get out of it. And then Adam Ottavino to close things out. An inning, a walk, and a strikeout. The Mets bullpen held down the fort. You had Brandon Nimmo, who provided the only offensive production for the most part in the 4th inning. He had a solo home run to right center, 399 feet. So, yeah, I mean, really good to see Brandon Nimmo providing some offense, obviously some power. Otherwise, not the best night for the offense. Nimmo going 2 for 3, obviously. Otherwise, no one really else was doing anything. You had Beatty go 1 for 2 with the walk. Otherwise, offensively, not the most that you could show off. But point is, the Mets won this game 1-0. Kodai Senga looked well. Going into game 2, yesterday's game, and that's when the shit show started for this Mets ball club once again. What happened? Well, the Mets decided, they didn't want to win, and they lost the game 5-2. And another questionable game on all cylinders. You had Tyler McGill come in 4 2/3, 6 hits, 3 runs, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. In the beginning of this game, once again in the 1st inning, McGill is not able to get the job done. Commanded the strike zone is off. 8 straight pitches to start off this game were outside the zone, were balls. His pitch count was driven up. His fastball didn't look good. And you noticed his stride is much more shortened this season. I don't know if that's because of injury and he's trying to kind of feel through it, but it's clearly not working. We can see his velo has decreased. I'm not this person that says, his velo's down, that's an issue. But it's not working out for him. His stride is much shortened. He's giving up a lot of hard contact and a hard time finding the zone. Point blank simple. So he didn't look good. He was pulled from the game. Nagosa came in, 2 1/3, a hit, 2 runs, a walk, 4 strikeouts, whatever. Leon making his first Mets appearance, an inning, a hit, a walk, 2 strikeouts, and then Jeff Brigham, an inning, a hit, and that was it. Pitching-wise, I mean, it is what it is. Offensively, you came into it. In the 1st inning, Pete Alonso had an RBI ground out to 3rd to bring in Brandon Nimmo, and then in the 3rd inning, Francisco Lindor grounded out to the shortstop to bring in Alvarez. You lose this game 5-2. Once again, another unfortunate game. The Mets continue to struggle with runners in scoring position. And then today's shit show, where the Mets really were coming in. Rubber match. The Mets were favorited to sweep the series, but why would they? You had Joey Lucchesi come in. 4 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, 70 pitches. 43 of those were in the zone. Start off the game, Randall Grichuk, solo shot. You're down. However, the Mets came in, tried to battle back. Obviously, Jeff McNeil in the 1st inning had an RBI single to center to bring in Brandon Nimmo. Brett Beatty had a 2-run RBI single to right to bring in Lindor and McNeil. Heading on into the 4th inning, Jeff McNeil had an RBI single to second to bring in Francisco Alvarez. Heading on into the 5th inning, Luis Guillorme had an RBI single to center to bring in Canna. And then, of course, Daniel Vogelbach, when the Mets are down 1,000 runs, decides to hit a solo shot to right center. Otherwise, Mets sucked this game offensively. They had so many opportunities, plenty of opportunities to score, and they didn't get the job done. The bullpen continued to struggle. You had Jimmy Yacobonis come in, and Jimmy Yacob assness, I don't know, 3 hits, 5 runs. Tommy Hunter, 4 innings, 2 2/3, 4 hits, 3 runs. Jeff Brigham comes in, clean outing, and then Leon, 3 hits, 2 runs. Mets dropped this game 13-6. What can I say? The Mets struggled. The Mets played horrible. And with that said, Mets and Rockies, you lost 1-3 in a horrible series. I would say by far this was one of the most painful series to watch. The amount of times you had guys in scoring position, the lack of power, and we're going to get into that. You saw the Rockies. The Rockies were hitting with 2 outs. Counts not favoring them, and they played well. Maybe the Mets could take offensive approaches from the Rockies and the Tigers. So now that that's over, let's go into a full-on rant because, this is an absolute shit show right now with what this New York Mets organization is doing. So continue dropping the comments. I'm going to get into those. I promise. Just give me another 10 to 20 minutes to lose my freaking mind. So let's get into really what makes this New York Mets ball club suck ass. So let's get into the offense. We're going to break down this team, why they're playing bad, and how shit they look. And I apologize for the cursing, but, I mean, it is what it is. So right now, the offense, obviously, I would say the biggest concerns with this offense right now is not being able to drive in runs with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. We saw so many times last year, this organization would have bases loaded, 2 outs, boom, driving in the run, and they would score. You saw last year that the Mets and Cardinals come back, the Mets and Phillies come back. Well, what are they doing right now? They're not doing any of that. This team has no heart, no hustle offensively. I think if you look at it, with this offense, they don't hit with runners in scoring position. They don't hit with 2 outs. You look at your $400 million lineup that consists of guys of Daniel Vogelbach, Luis Guillorme, Tomas Nido. It's hard to win ball games with those guys playing. It's very hard. Like I said, I think overall, he does not hit with runners in scoring position. They don't hit with 2 outs. I read a statistic that they've only scored in the first inning like 3 times this year. The lineup. I mean, we talk about this lineup and how horrible Marte has been, Canna has been, Nido, Guillorme, and Vogelbach. And I'm going to talk about Vogelbach because I know everyone's going to go off at me for Vogelbach. Talking with Vogelbach, I don't care for him. I don't care that he has a 400 OBP, that he walks. I don't care because we know he's not stealing. He doesn't have speed on the base paths. The Mets selected him as a DH for power. Throughout all of Vogelbach's career in Milwaukee, in Seattle, wherever else he's played, he pulled the ball. He would pull the ball and hit for power, extra base hits and home runs, hard exit velo. The Mets are telling him, oh, don't pull the ball. Don't pull the ball. Just stand there. Be an OBP guy. Why? Last I checked, the Mets brought in the right field wall like 20 feet. I mean, do I need to slap someone in the head and be like, is that not a clue? I don't understand unless I'm an idiot, but I don't understand. Vogelbach made the stupid base mistake on base, trying to round third. Like, what are you, like Ricky Henderson? You're going to steal? Like, come on. So that's the thing with Vogelbach. You look at Nido offensively, he provides nothing. Nothing. He's a swing and a miss guy, chases, the catcher gets a ball in the dirt, moves over 3 feet, Nido swinging. Horrible. One of the worst offensive players in baseball. Provides nothing. His defense isn't even good enough to keep him out there. Defensively, he's not good. Offensively, he's not good. When Narvaez comes back, you bench him. You set him down. I can't take Nido anymore. You look at Starling Marte. I don't know what's going on with Marte, but he's playing with an injury. He had that head injury in Los Angeles where he banged his head, and ever since he's been looking off. I mean, you saw yesterday when that was kind of like the final thing for me. Two runners on. You have runners on first and second, no outs, and Marte bunts. Why is your number 2 guy bunting? That's the last straw with Marte, and you saw he wasn't in the lineup today. And Buck Showalter said yesterday he's going to be put down in the order, and as he should. He doesn't deserve to bat second with the horrible numbers he's putting up. You look at a guy like Mark Canha. Well, Mark Canha last year was a big contributor to this Mets offense. He was, I don't want to say he was like a Nimmo 2.0 or a McNeil 2.0 where he's a great OBP guy, but he was. He was a guy who walked, got contact. He was a decent table setter. And now he's looked horrible. His approach has been off. He said in spring training in the offseason, he's trying to hit for a little bit more power. He's trying to swing the bat more. And I don't know if that's messed him up. He looks like a completely different hitter. Doesn't look like the hitter that we've seen before. Looks completely out of it. You look at this offense right now, and it is not working. This team is trying to go with a small ball approach. It's not 1975 anymore. You need power in lineups. You need power. And who gives you that? Pete Alonso and Francisco Lindor. And when those guys go 0 for 4 or 1 for 3 or whatever, you're going to lose. Point blank simple. You are going to lose the ball game. Really? How the Mets philosophy is? Nimmo and McNeil get on, Alonso and Lindor drive them in. That's not going to work. You need 1 through 9 contributing. Look at the Braves lineup. They have, Sean Murphy hitting like 8, hitting home runs. Michael Harris hitting 9, hitting home runs. This team has no power. Small ball does not work. For this Mets team, at least. The Royals, 2015. Okay. The small ball approach is not going to work for this team, and you saw it last year. You saw it in the Mets and Braves series, the Mets and Padres series. The opposing teams hit home runs, and what did we do? Nimmo gets on, McNeil gets on. Oh, strikeout, double play, boom. You need power. And Billy Epler failed that, and we're going to talk about Epler a whole lot. This team offensively is not there. No approach. They're not swinging the bat as much. If you look at them offensively, they're like practically last in, 99% of the statistics. They're not there. They're putting up lazy at-bats, and point blank, they essentially suck offensively. There was one thing I wanted to read, so just give me 1 second. It was some statistics of the Mets offense. And if you were to tell me and show me these statistics coming in on, whatever today is, May 7th. Yeah, May 7th. I would laugh. So you look at this Mets offense. The 2023 New York Mets are 19th in home runs, which that is what it is. 20th in slugging, 16th in runs, 22nd in hits, 18th in RBIs, 20th in average, 14th in OBP. Weren't they like third 2 weeks ago? 17th in OPS and 21st in total bases. That's the Mets offense for you right there. Does that sound like a $400 million payroll to you? I don't think so. Yeah. I think the only bright side that I could talk about with this lineup right now is Brett Baty, Francisco Alvarez, and Brandon Nimmo. At least I'm confident going out there knowing that Baty can hit the ball hard. Baty can get on base, and he is. That Alvarez has improved tremendously since game 1 of this season and last year. He's, his play discipline has improved tremendously. He looks like a much better hitter. Defensively, he's phenomenal. I'm loving what Alvarez is doing. But right now, you look at this Mets team, and offensively, they don't have it. Alonso's in a slump. Lindor's in a slump. When does the honeymoon phase end for him, by the way? I ask myself that. Yeah, they suck. When one guy gets hot, the rest of them just, essentially just take a nap. McNeil and Alonso are, getting on base once or twice a game, not as much as, what they've used to been doing. But the only guys that are consistently getting on base are Nimmo, Baty, and Alvarez. Tip of the cap to Brandon Nimmo. This dude is he's having a phenomenal season, Brandon Nimmo. By no doubt showing his value. Tip of the cap to him. I think Nimmo could be an all-star this year, win a Gold Glove. I think he's going to do a lot this year, Brandon Nimmo. And he is. He's a great leadoff guy, and we're finally seeing the Brandon Nimmo that, we want to see. He's hitting the ball, but he's also very disciplined behind the plate. So he's keeping his OBP high, but he's also keeping his slugging and average high. So, really tip of the cap to Brandon Nimmo, because he's been, in my opinion, if the Mets were to announce a captain today, it's him. Because when the rest of the team sucks, you see Nimmo out there playing well, hustling. Mets are down 1,000-1, and he's hustling down the line. The Detroit series, that was really the only inadequate series that Nimmo had all season. If you want me to go over and read Brandon Nimmo's stats from this year, he's doing well. By far, the best player in this Mets offense right now. Damn it, my computer's not going to show it. So let me tell you the Brandon Nimmo statistics. So right now, you look at Brandon Nimmo, right? Brandon Nimmo, so far this season, is batting .310, an OBP of .407, an OPS of .867, 39 hits, 3 homers, 14 ribbies. Those are phenomenal statistics. Those are all-star caliber. Defensively, I think he's one of the best defenders in the game. No doubt I could see him winning a Gold Glove. So really, tip of the cap to Nimmo. Baty's doing really well. If you look at Brett Baty's statistics, I know it's a small sample size, but still to take into accountability. Brett Baty, stats have gone down a little bit because of today and yesterday, but batting .286, OBP of 344, OPS of 790. It's better than half the lineup. He's hitting the ball. He's driving in runs. Alvarez, too, the last couple games has been hitting very well. So overall, offensively, this team, it sucks. They have no approach. To summarize it, and then we'll move into our next category, pitching. They don't hit with 2 outs. They don't hit with runners in scoring position. They have and they don't have any power, or they have limited power. And the small ball approach is not working. They don't play fundamental baseball where you have runners on the corners, 1 out. Still driving a run with the sac fly. No, they get a double play or strikeout. This Mets team is not looking good offensively. You didn't bring in any offensive additions this offseason. You kept the same exact lineup. So that's the offense. Let's get into the pitching. Everyone's favorite, the Mets pitching. Who would have thought, 365 days ago, the Mets had best pitching staff, one of the best pitchings in baseball, and they're horseshit. You look at the pitching right now, 12th worst ERA in baseball, 12th worst whip, 3rd most home runs, 3rd most walks, tied in last in quality starts. I don't care about that. Does that sound like an elite rotation to you? Does that sound good? No. Okay, Justin Verlander, he had 1 appearance back. Okay, we'll see. Hopefully Verlander can help carry a little bit. I get it. A lot of your rotation is hurt. Verlander was out. Scherzer was out for a bit. Carrasco's out. But you know what? That's what happens when you invest in a veteran rotation. The fact that 3 of your guys in your rotation are over the age of 36 or 37 years old, that's alarming. That's a concern. You have Quintana, too, I believe is 34, 35, something around that, if someone wants to correct me on that. Otherwise, your rotation is destroyed. McGill is a completely different pitcher this year. Peterson is a completely different pitcher this year. You can only expect so much out of Lucchesi. The Mets invested so much in starting pitching. Do I think the Scherzer and Verlander deals are okay? I probably would have gone less years, in my opinion. I think financially, I think it's decent, but I would have not signed them to 3, arguably 2, and maybe a team option or an option in between that. You look at this pitching staff right now; they're not going into games. I don't necessarily. It's not that I don't care about quality starts. It's just that it's a statistic that's not like my top priority. And I guess last year, the biggest thing, and I'll mention that in a second, but this pitching staff is just not working right now. I don't even know how to. There's so many things I could say. Yeah, the pitching staff is not there. These guys go, 3 innings, 4 innings into games, they get taken out, and then you're frying your bullpen. The bullpen is going to be dead in 2 weeks, I guarantee you. How many bullpen arms I've seen come and go. Your pitchers are going, 3, 4 innings into games, and the bullpen carries? The Mets did not address the pitching to an extent. Obviously, Edwin Diaz got hurt. What did Epler do? Oh, we'll be fine. Robertson will carry. To an extent he is, but then it moves the chain of command. So, this bullpen is going to be taxed, and they're all going to have dead arm in 2 weeks. And the fact that we're discussing that the bullpen is being overtaxed on April 7th, are you fucking kidding me? That's a joke. When people were saying, listen, with Diaz, okay, listen, Diaz is hurt. It's not the end of the world. He only goes out there and, pitches, 3 innings a week. Yeah, but you know what? That affects Buck Showalter's mentality, and that affects the rest of the bullpen, because last year, Buck would say, okay, I have Diaz for the 9th. Lock. Well, now he doesn't have that. You can go Robertson, you can go Ottavino, you can go whoever else. So now the chain of command is all mixed up, and that affects the bullpen. And that was why I was worried when Diaz got hurt. The starting pitching is looking like dog shit. Scherzer, what do you do with Scherzer? He's had one or 2 good starts, that San Diego start and one other start, and then 3 or 4 others, he's imploded. He's looked horrible. Do I dare to even mention the idea of what you would do with him? Do you give him a couple more starts, and if he's just horrible looking, do I mention DFA or something around those lines? He's going to have to get his stuff together. Verlander will do what he does. I mean, if he can give me at least 65 or 75% of what he did last year, I'll take it. I will take it. But you look at this Mets pitching staff that consists of guys like Jeff Brigham, Tommy Hunter, Jimmy Yacobonis, Joey Lucchesi, Tyler McGill. Does that sound like a World Series roster to you? Having those guys, the fact that, you have no rotation. Your bullpen is, Does that sound like a World Series contender to you? I don't think so. So, Epler once again made no moves for the pitching staff. It's also very hard for this pitching staff and this team when they're always down. They're always down in the game. The Mets pitching staff loves giving up home runs, barrels, hard contact. I essentially, what is there to say? What is there to do? Yeah, I mean, I think that's really all I have to say in regards to the starting pitching. But yeah, this team's starting pitching looks really bad. The bullpen only can do so much. They can only go out there and give you so much. Like I said, it's May 7th, and these guys are gonna have dead arm. So yeah, starting pitching is just these guys they don't go deep into games, and the bullpen gets taxed, and then they're fried. Their arms come in, couple outings later. So yeah, I mean that's the starting pitching now, and then it's also comes to the point. Well, who else do you have? You have Jose Butto. Otherwise, that's really it. The Mets don't have a whole lot of starting pitching availability in AAA. Think about it. We had depth, but then Quintana was out. Carrasco was out. I mean, a month ago, it was, consisting of Verlander, Scherzer, Quintana, Senga, and then Carrasco. And then you had depth of McGill, Peterson, Butto, a lot of other factors, a lot of other guys. I kind of wish the Mets re-signed Trevor Williams. I think he could have been a decent guy in that fit. But right now, this pitching staff is looking horrible. And I don't care about DeGrom. I mean, I care about him, but I mean, look, where is he now? He's on the IL. So it doesn't make a difference if you signed him or not. So very frustrating with this pitching staff. And now we're going to get into my absolute favorite topic of the day. And if you disagree with me, please don't kill me. And that's Billy Epler. I mean, what a fucking moron Epler has been. I don't understand Billy Epler's mentality of saying that he has faith in this lineup. He has faith in this roster. He's going to go out there and keep putting these motions in and getting the same exact results. Last year, Billy Epler had an unfortunate end of the season. He didn't do anything at the deadline, bringing in Darren Ruff, Daniel Vogelbach, Tyler Naquin, contributed nothing. Arguably, those three guys were the reason the Mets collapsed or fell. You didn't bring in any starting pitching or bullpen. Michael Givens, what did he do? You choked at the deadline. With Steve Cohen's wallet, he could have gotten anyone. Look at who the Padres got last trade deadline. They got Soto and Bell. Point is, those are guys that are elite players. And the Mets are getting Hill. And that was like, I'm going to play smart, money ball. Let's get these guys. No. You have money. Make a move. Like, what are we doing? So you have Billy Epler do that. Chokes the division away. Gets swamped in the wild card. Everyone says, all right, let's focus on next year. Let's try and go out there and, let's do something. Right? It goes into the offseason, 0 offensive additions. No one. Obviously, the Correa deal fell through, so you can get him. Bring in no offensive pieces. I don't care about Tommy Pham because he's horrible anyways. No offensive additions. You didn't bring in anyone. And then Epler says, oh, this lineup will be good. So considering that you have the concerns of power, the DH, you don't address it. And Epler says, let's go out and roll the lineup again and see if it works. Your guys, Alonso, McNeil, Nimmo, they'll be fine. But, can we book on a lot of other guys in this lineup having another great year back to back? So Epler didn't address the power concern. And, well, we're seeing the issues of that. Same lineup as last year. He invested in an incredibly old rotation. And people say, well, hey, Hayden, well, who should have Epler got? You know how many guys that were on the market that, bullpen arms or anyone that went to these mediocre teams? I mean, you see guys like Andrew Chafin going to the Arizona Diamondbacks for a year, $6 million. Like, are you kidding me? The Mets could have not done that. I see guys like, you guys see Mitch Haniger or I don't know any other power bat on that was on the free agent market the Mets didn't go after. Also, how's JD Davis doing? How many home runs does he have? What are his power metrics? Billy Epler has no fucking clue what he is doing. Adam Duvall, another good one. He has no fucking clue what he's doing. He's sitting there saying, oh, roll it back, roll it back, roll it back. Keep going through the motions. Loss, win, loss. It's not working. Spend fucking, and I'm not saying you need to spend money, but with the paycheck you have, you can't be pulling this crap. And with that said, if the Mets don't turn it around, Epler's fucking gone. Bring in David Stearns, bring in John Doe. Christ's sake, have fucking Sandy Alderson. But what is he doing? He's doing nothing. Very frustrated with Billy Epler. Summarizing Billy Epler, the previous year and a half that he's had, the only, I guess, good things I give him, okay, he extended McNeil. He extended Nimmo. Okay, I'll give Epler that. But right now, he didn't do anything this offseason, brought the same exact lineup in, didn't bring any power additions, no other. Diaz went down, he didn't do anything. He was like, we're fine with the bullpen. We have a good bullpen. You know how many guys were on the market that, signed these bullshit deals and they went to these mediocre teams? And Epler could have got them all, but he didn't. He said, oh, let's have faith in the farm, which, yeah, that's fine. But, that is what it is. So, look at Billy Epler's track history. Eduardo Escobar, Mark Canha, Starling Marte. How are those three guys doing? Escobar is horrible last year and this year. Canha was good last year, been horrible this year. And Marte was, good last year and been bad this year. Who else has he, signed or brought in? The guys that he's had the opportunity to bring in. Yeah. So right now, this ball club, a lot of concerns. Billy Epler is on the hot seat. So, absolutely just unbelievably frustrated with Billy Epler. Listen, I don't care. I get it. In baseball, you don't need money to be a World Series team. But the fact is that you're spending this much and you're, under 500, a game under, that's a joke. Listen, if they didn't spend and they were playing, okay. But the fact that they're spending this much and they're getting horrible results, that's sad. So I'm done with Epler. I think he's a clown. I think he's a moron. Will Steve Cullen and the Mets fire him? Probably not. As much as I would love for Epler to get, be skedaddle. But we'll see. If the Mets, go like 77 and, 90-something too this season, yeah, Epler is going to be gone. I think it'd be very hard to defend him. So, and I get it. A lot of people say, oh, well, the Braves, were like 21-27 last year going into June. The Phillies weren't great. Okay. But at least they hit. At least they had offense. At least they showed life. At least they looked like a decent team. They hit with runners in scoring position. They hit with 2 outs. They hit home runs. They had power. Their pitching was decent to good. And they just lost games because, whatever. But this Mets team isn't doing any of that. So it's kind of hard to get your back on when you're not doing any of that. This is a completely different team than last year in terms of results and production. So that's Billy Epler. I think he's a moron. And yeah, I think a lot of people A lot of people came at me and said, "Oh, you're being a little harsh on Epler. Give it time." But those people are actually now coming out and concurring with me and saying that Epler needs to figure out his stuff. So yeah, like I said, it's been very rough time for Billy Epler. Let's get into the farm system a little bit. I know there's a couple candidates that you could, of course, discuss. If you start wearing a Mets hat, I did like the last 2 streams. I wore a Mets hat and they freaking suck. So I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe I will. I don't know. But yeah. So Mets farm system, like I said, it's really hard. Like I said, you obviously called up Brett Beatty, you called up Francisco Alvarez, but they could only do so much, unfortunately. And I think the next guy that I wouldn't be surprised to see called up is Mark Vientos. Vientos has been raking, absolutely raking in AAA so far. He is putting up phenomenal results. Mark Vientos has been putting up phenomenal results so far in AAA. If I could read some of those statistics for you, minorleaguebaseball.com. We'll just go with the basic stats. And of course, it's not going to show me it. Why would it? Let me go on my laptop, Mark Vientos stats. So I can tell you some of Vientos' stats. I think I wouldn't be surprised if the Mets call him up. Obviously, you look at Mark Vientos so far in AAA. He's batting .339, OBP of .424, OPS of 1,120. That includes 10 home runs, 27 ribbies, 38 hits. It sounds like he's raking in AAA and he's doing pretty good. And I think it comes to the point where I think it's time for the Mets to call up Mark Vientos. I would much rather see him take the at-bats over Vogelbach and Escobar and Pham and Guillorme. Defensively, it's kind of like, well, where do you put him? He's labeled as a third baseman and first baseman, and obviously, I don't want to take the at bats away from Beatty. Maybe you could platoon Beatty and Vientos DH third base. I don't want to take Alonso out of the lineup either. So DH him primarily, maybe third, and Beatty DHs periodically. Mauricio. People have discussed Mauricio. He's still a little, I think, young in AAA. I would give him a little time. He's playing well, but I don't know if he's quite ready for the major league pitching, where at least you saw Vientos last year. He had that good series in Oakland and Washington. So at least you kind of can expect a little bit more. Vientos has improved a lot. Obviously, his strikeout percentage is significantly low compared to, obviously, when he was in low single A or low A ball. Improved a lot. So Vientos, I think it's time the Mets to call him up. Let the kids play. Because right now, guys like Canna, Marte, Guillorme, Pham, Escobar are not playing well. And, when it comes to Eduardo Escobar, he was a guy that I was very tough on coming into this season. It was very, very tough on Eduardo Escobar. And when it comes to Eduardo Escobar, he lost his job by himself. It's not like anyone stole it from him. He lost it by himself. Quick little story. Obviously, the Mets went into spring training. Escobar went to the WBC. Everyone said, all right, Beatty proves himself and Beatty plays well and, maybe put him on the roster. Beatty had a phenomenal spring training. The Mets said, put him in AAA for a little bit. 2 games in AAA, 4 for 4, 2 home runs, 2 doubles. He looked phenomenal. And then Escobar, what is he doing? 0 for 4. He's swinging the bat. He's chasing. He doesn't know what he's doing. He looks lost. So the Mets said, all right, let's call up Beatty, give him a shot. He can't really be any worse than Escobar, right? And he started hitting. He started raking. Defensively, he is what he is. I think he's pretty good defensively. But offensively, he tore it up. I mean, brought some power to the game. Just the ability to drive in runs and pass the baton and be productive. Great OBP guy. And like I said, essentially, he lost the job by himself, Escobar. It's not like, Escobar was playing mediocre, but Beatty was playing a little bit better. Escobar was playing like dog shit, and Beatty was playing elite. And, when it comes to it, I'm not putting Escobar back in the lineup. For what? Why? If Beatty's going to play well and go 2 for 4 and have a double and a walk and be productive, why? What's the point of putting Escobar in? I don't really understand why they continue to, and you've been noticing they don't play Escobar as much. I mean, Beatty's playing like 4 out of 5 times, and Escobar's playing 1 out of 5. That's not like an actual statistic. That's kind of just in my head, but it's what the general consensus has been. So I don't understand that. Obviously, Pham, I don't understand why Pham is still around. He had, like 2 good games, and everyone got hard over him. Like, what does he offer? We discussed Marte, obviously. Vogelbach. Yeah, another V is going to be on that lineup. It's going to be Vientos, not Vogelbach. So, and we've been noticing the Mets, the younglings, the rookies have been moving up in the order. We saw Beatty was hitting like 8th, then 7th, and 6th, and now he's hitting 5th. And honestly, I would have no problem with this Mets lineup looking something like Nimmo, Lindor, McNeil, Alonso, Beatty. I think McNeil's a decent table setter. I think you have the lefty, righty, and then righty. So I think it's the ability where, I think Vientos or Beatty is a very underrated guy, and pitchers don't know that yet. So it's, they're a little cautious to pitch to Alonso, but then you get Alonso on, well, you have another concern. And obviously Escobar never brought that as a 5-hitter. So, yeah, I'm happy with Beatty. But yeah, we'll see. So now with the rants over, we have over 100 comments in the comments section. Jesus Christ. So I'm going to get into all of them. If you guys have any comments, questions, concerns, please feel free to essentially drop them in the comment section below. And yeah, I guess I will get into them. So yes, essentially what is going on, everyone? Unfortunately, no guests today. I'm kind of just soloing it, but I appreciate it. What's going on? Yeah, Fire Epler. What's going on, everyone? Alex, Jack, Alyssa, Eric, Alex, Trey, Cal. Appreciate you tuning in, Michael, Paul, Seth, Ibindos, Devin. I appreciate it, man. Appreciate you tuning in for the first time. Logan, Fire Epler, I concur. Kobe, what's going on? Cal says, hey, Hayden, what's up? Rough past couple days, it seems. Anyways, on to the next. That's all you could do. Trey says, mark of a mid-disappointing baseball team. Starters not going deep, overworked pen, inconsistent offense, and manager not putting players in the best positions to be successful. The only thing a lot of these disappointing teams got going for them, and it's only May 7th. Yeah, essentially, I mean, kind of what everything I summed up. So glad we're on the same page. No, and I agree with that. I mean, I'd much rather the Mets play bad now than coming September. But, I mean, how much time are you going to give them? I mean, are we going to give them till Memorial Day? Are we going to give them till 4th of July? Bullpen is a question as well. Yeah, and I mean, I think it's a good bullpen, but it's just they're being overtaxed. I mean, you're using Yacobonis like 7 innings a week. Like, are you kidding me? It's a trickle-down effect. I mean, the rotation goes like, your starting pitcher goes like 2 innings, and then you have to go use your bullpen for the 7, 8. And you can't do that. You're going to destroy your bullpen arms. And it's May 7th, and we're already seeing guys go up and up and down and up and down. You can't have that. So, I don't know what the Mets' plan is with the bullpen. It's not working out. Captain Morgan says, hey, new to the channel, rough stretch for the Mets. Yeah, it is unfortunate. Jake says, now the facts of the game, Lindor is still slumping. Yeah, Lindor, probably get shelled for saying this. Lindor's having a very weird season. The extra base hits, the slugging's there, but the average is not there. The OBP is not there. I don't know why Lindor bats from the left-handed side. If someone wants to tell me his statistics batting lefty versus righty, I would say the right-handed side is much better. I hate Lindor batting lefty. I don't know why he does it. I don't care if it's a lefty or righty on the mound. If the statistics say you're batting horrible as a lefty, yeah, move to the right-hand side. I don't care about the switching part anymore. I care about winning ball games and essentially scoring a run, hitting with runners in scoring position, hitting with 2 outs, getting on base. And if, he wants to bat 2 or 3, yeah, he needs to get on. So, yeah. Yeah, Christina, that makes two of us. Jake says, I think the bullpen gave it away. Yeah, I know they did. Absolutely. I mean, it's one thing when it's, was like 4-3 or something like that. And then you have Yaka Bonus or Yaka Ass come in and blow the bully, then blow it away. 4-3 game, you could have worked with that. The Mets scored what, 6 runs? You could have worked with that. But, your bullpen's being overtaxed because your starters are only going 3 innings, 4 innings. I mean, I guarantee you, someone wants to look it up and comment. How many innings do the Mets starters have compared to the bullpen? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, which starter has the most innings pitched so far? I actually am very, very curious on that to see which starters have the most innings pitched. I'm actually going to look that up. So if you guys want to hold up for 1 second, let's go to MLB.com or just the MLB app. Teams. Let's look at the Metropolitans. Let's go to stats. Yeah, it probably is Senga or Peterson. It probably actually is Senga. Maybe Casey. Innings pitched is McGill. McGill at 35. 35 and a third. Senga 32. Peterson 30. Scherzer 22. Lucchesi 20. Robertson 14. Look at it like this. Curtis 13. Smith 13. Hunter 13. Budo 12. Ottavino 12. Nagosic an inning and a third. Brigham 10. Rayleigh 11. Yacabonis 10. Of course, you have Guillorme with 1, but you can't. That's not what? That's not going to work out. So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I don't think he's worth his salary. I don't disagree. On the bright side, it's good to see Beatty and Alvarez hitting well and having a good impact, says Cal. Yeah, no, Cal, I agree with you on that. I mean, I'm happy that, they're playing well, but unfortunately no one else is playing well. And that's kind of the issue. So, yeah, we'll see. JL, what's going on? He says the Braves won on a walk-off today, won the series against the Orioles. Yeah, I did see that. The Braves are playing pretty well. If only they could play kind of like how the Mets are projected to play. I think that would be ideal. But right now they're not. And sooner rather than later, the Braves are gonna walk through the division once again. So yeah. Explosive, what's going on? He says, this isn't shocking. I had the Mets at 88 wins. Way too many things went right last year. Of averages this year wouldn't have happened. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, this looks like a completely different team compared to last year. I mean, when it comes to rallies, being clutch, completely different teams. So, I mean, yeah, we're honestly going to have to see. I mean, are the Mets going to, how much time are we going to give the Mets? Right now, I mean, I don't know what they're projected to finish, but I doubt it's, you need change. And I mean, I guess the question comes is, well, how much longer are you going to give this Mets team? Are you going to give them till Memorial Day? You're going to give them till mid-June, July 4th? You can't wait for the trade deadline. And, right now there's not much talent on this team that even thinks that they could even win 86 and 76 or something like that. And I get it. It doesn't really – I don't care about the division. Just get in the playoffs. And I think, you kind of seen in baseball, it doesn't matter who wins the division. You saw it last year. It was irrelevant. But – are you going to be fighting for third or fourth place in a month from now in the division? I mean, that'd be a joke. $400 million payroll, and you're fighting to stay above 500. That's a concern. That is a concern. So, James, what's going on? He says Mets stink. That'd be a correct statement. If it's not the offense, it's the pitching, and that's the thing. I mean, you see that the Detroit series, they scored what, like 2-3 runs. And then today, they scored six runs and still managed to lose. You saw last year, the offense wasn't this crazy power team. They were still the small ball manufacturing runs, but their pitching held down the fourth. You would have guys like Scherzer and McGill and Bassett and Walker and everyone, go 6-7 innings, give up 3 runs, and the Mets would score, 5 or 6. But now you don't have the pitching to carry. And, the offense can score 6 runs, but you're going to lose it with how your pitching has been. You saw it last year. How many games were low-scoring games, and the Mets won it. The Mets would win games like 3-1, save situations, 5-2. The Mets score 6 runs, and they're losing half of them because they give up like 20 runs. So, that's really the concern. And honestly, listen, I'm not saying the Mets should have re-signed Bassett and Walker because they've been horrible, but when it came to last year, say what you want about them collapsing in September, but at least they went out there every 5th day and, gave you an average of 6 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, and like 6 or 7 strikeouts. At least they went out there for 6 innings and gave you a quality start. And the offense would give you 5-6 runs and boom. The Mets aren't doing that. So we'll see. Captain Morgan says Vientos might force the Mets' hand sooner rather than later, but Volge still got some power. Even if Vientos dethrones him as the DH, the Mets got to keep him around as a bench bat. I kind of have to disagree with you on that, Captain Morgan. I don't really see much value in Vogelbach at this rate. Like, I don't care about his on-base percentage. If he's, we saw on the bases today. He can't even, he's on the bases and he gets picked off. Like, are you serious? He's never stolen a base in his career. He has no speed in the base paths. It's not like he's Nimmo or McNeil. He gets on. He's a threat. Vogelbach's not. And I think, honestly, it comes to concern where, it's just very stressful with Vogelbach. The ability to not pull the ball. Throughout all of, we've discussed Vogelbach saying, throughout all of his career, he's pulled the ball. He's resulted in so many home runs and extra base hits, power, and slugging. And he's not doing that. The Mets are telling him, don't pull the ball, just slap it, small ball mentality. And it's not working for them. And, somehow the Mets aren't realizing that, and they still want him to, do anything. So, I don't know. We'll see with Vogelbach. But honestly, I'd rather have Vientos. I don't want Vogelbach. I don't want Guillorme. I don't want Nito. I don't want Pham or Escobar. I don't want to see those guys. Only 1 game under 500. It could be worse. And honestly, I'm surprised they're only under a game under. This is completely, I don't know. So we'll see. 1 game under with a $364 million payroll. Yeah, and you could thank Billy Epler for that. Obviously, Epler, according to Epler, he has faith in this lineup and all that stuff, and clearly not. So we'll see. I agree with you. It's embarrassing. And, it's one thing if, they didn't spend or they were at a 200 or 300, but, they were 5-6 games above. But the fact is that you're spending and you're not even being able to win ball games. I don't care about the payroll, but it's the fact that you're playing so horrible that makes it embarrassing. Cal says, what's the biggest concern for the Mets right now? Everything. Everything. If you want me to tackle one thing, I think it's their starting pitching. If their starting pitching can go out there and give them 6-7 innings, a decent quality start, I think they could stand a chance. You saw it last year. Pitchers would give you 6-7 innings, 3 runs, 2 runs given up. The Mets would win ball games because both sides worked. The pitching and the offense worked. Talking Mets with Rob, I agree. Yeah, it's very disappointing. Very disappointing. Change of hitting coach and philosophy could be an issue, and I think that is. The hitting coach, Jeremy Barnes, is a fucking moron. Do you try to put Eric Chavez back in that position? One guy I've mentioned his name a couple times on the channel, and I was actually very fond of him, was Chili Davis. And hear me out. I know a lot of people. I don't really understand why the Mets fired him in the beginning of the 2021 season. I think it was kind of hard. You saw 2019, they were a pretty good offensive team with power, extra base hits. You saw, 2019, obviously, Alonso had 53 home runs. You had guys like McNeil, who hit like 24, but were still able to post an average of like 320. You had guys like J.D. Davis hit 26 home runs. Michael Conforto hit home runs. Say what you want about 2020, and then 2021 came, and they kicked him out after what, a month? I liked his line drive mentality. He was a guy that said just hit line drives, and if it travels out of the ballpark, it travels. If it goes down the gap for a double, it goes down the gap. If it goes down the line for a double, triple, it does that. Hit line drives. The Mets mentality of now the Mets hitting mentality is, just slap the ball, small ball, bunt, steal. It's not going to work. Obviously, I want Eric Chavez back as the hitting coach, because right now something is not working with Jeremy Barnes. He needs to be gone. He needs to leave. Ban him from Citi Field, please. He's not doing a good job. I mean, offensively, this team looks horrible. And I agree. A lot of people, use the hitting coach as a scapegoat or something, but this is the same lineup as last year, but they look completely different offensively. So, yeah, I don't know what the Mets organization is going to do with their hitting philosophy and hitting coach, but you need change. You need a power bat. You need to focus on line drives. Stop slapping the ball. If you're Nimmo and McNeil, okay. But, why is everyone, it's horrible. Should the Mets go out and make a signing, says Kobe? I mean, I would love them to, but it's kind of hard. Who could you get right now? So, I don't really know what options the Mets have. Think about it. All the credit teams that usually would sell in the past are doing well. The Pirates, the Diamondbacks. So I don't really know what, the situation is for this Mets offense. They're going to continue to go out there and continue to implode these games offensively. So, we'll see. Talking Mets with Rob says, you score 6 runs, you should win, and pitching is ridiculously bad. Yeah, 6 runs. I guarantee you, if you scored 6 runs, and I would say 90% of the games last year, you would have won. Yeah, Alonso and Lindor have definitely been looking a little much off. Yeah, they're not carrying the team. And like I said, I read a statistic. It's the Mets are 9-2 when Alonso homers, but then they're 3-11 when he doesn't. Something around those lines. So it goes to show you the Mets rely on Alonso and Lindor way too much to be run creators. And if they're bad, it's a loss. Trey says Mets needed another high leverage reliever before Edwin Diaz got hurt. Didn't get it. They needed a legitimate DH with power. Didn't get it. They needed a more well-rounded bench. Didn't build one. Most importantly, a better rotation. Didn't build that either. Yeah, you can thank Billy Epler for that. JL says the Mets scored 2 runs finally, but give up 13. What the heck? Yeah, exactly. It's horrible. Give Lindor a day off to clear his head. I won't have an off day tomorrow, so they're going to have a pretty miserable flight, I'm sure, to Cincinnati. Talking Mets with Rob says it's amazing how this team is only 1 game under 500. Yeah. Michael says protect Beatty at all costs. Yeah, I agree. Explosive says we have now lost 12 of the last 14. Yeah, isn't that sad? Yeah, I addressed this before. It's not that I don't really care about quality starts. It's just, I mean, now you kind of, I guess, have to, yes. JL says, honestly, I mean, Max is done. Verlander is the only guy. Yeah, Max is, I don't think Max Scherzer is, what he is or, what he was, 4 or 5 years ago. But, if he could be at least half of that, but we're not seeing a quarter of it at least. Yeah, starters need to go deep. I agree. Quintana Narvaez is out too. Yeah, that's also another kind of unfortunate part. No way though Verlander or Max come if it's not 3 years. And I think that's the issue. I think it's Verlander said that he wanted this long-term deal, but, are you willing to take that risk? And Epler did. And you're seeing the unfortunate parts of it. Yeah, Epler is not good. No, I agree. Diaz could go 2 innings and exactly. That's another thing you saw in the Tigers game. 8th inning. You had runners on second and third, 2 outs. Ottavino in. Last year, Diaz would have been put in that situation. Lights out and then gets the ninth. I feel like Max is going to figure out he's too competitive. I hope so. He's going to need to figure it out, or else the Mets are going to be in a very, very, very rough situation. So we'll see. What Scherzer does. We'll see what the rest of the starting pitching can do. So overall, not 2021 all over again. It seems the concerns are back. The team forgot how to play and get hot. Pretty much. IB says, I have 0 words. Change needs to happen sooner rather than later, or we can kiss the season goodbye. Yeah. How much longer are we going to wait? Sports fan says, in an ideal world, these were effects they could have fixed at the trade deadline, but it's May 7th and the Mets are in danger. They are. Gio, what's going on? Yeah, and I mean, everyone's bringing up Ohtani, and I mean, I've honestly never really mentioned my thoughts on Ohtani, and I never really thought he was needed, but I think it comes to the point where I think it really just comes down to getting Ohtani. Do I think the Mets will get him? I don't think so. But I mean, Ohtani, how many solves the pitching. He solves the power bat. He solves the DH role. He solves a lot of things. Do you think we should fire Buck? I don't think it's necessarily Buck. I think it's more Epler and just what he's given. I mean, what can Showalter do? The bullpen management, that's kind of always been something he's been weak at. But it's not even the bullpen management. It's Epler not going out there and getting him quality guys to pitch. Buck has to go to his bullpen, but what is he going to do? Their arms are fried. Jacobonis pitched like 10 innings this week as a reliever. Are you kidding me? Their arms are fried. So, I mean, Buck, I think some of the lineup construction is a little interesting. That he continues to put out guys like Vogelbach and Guillorme as much as he does. I've noticed they're not playing as much, which is good. Yesterday we saw Buck put Canna at first and Escobar at second, and I think that was kind of Buck kind of trying to shade a Epler, call up Vientos, make some moves. So we'll see. I mean, I agree. I think Buck really has to work with what he's given. It's kind of like the Yankee situation. Is it Aaron Boone or is it Cashman? It's Cashman. Buck is working with what Epler is giving him. Yeah, I agree. And yeah, you thought Cullen. I mean, how much can Cullen do? Of course, but a lot. The fact that he's tweeting on Twitter, let's try to get the series win against the Colorado Rockies. Like, that's a joke. Epler won't be gone. Cullen and I think that's hopefully that's not the situation. Billy Epler needs to go. I concur. Fire Epler. Yeah. Fire Epler. Trace is not to mention Canna, Escobar, Marte have wildly underperformed their contracts. Oh, yeah, no doubt. And considering you have Marte for another 2 years after this. Hopefully. Maybe I'll win my next stream. The Phillies will catch up and the Marlins are decent. Braves are running away with it. It's going to be a hard fight for the Mets with decent Marlins and Phillies battling for wild cards, and that's the concern. That is my concern. Yeah, I agree. I would say Vientos, backup first baseman, DH. LD Sports, what's going on, man? He says, I'm going to the Mets at Reds game on Tuesday. Good luck, man. Hopefully they win. Awful Mets team. Yeah, I agree. JD LD Sports says, and I agree. We need to start calling up some of the kids from the minor leagues. Highest payroll and struggling to stay above 500. It's too embarrassing. Yeah. I'm going to go down a little bit because there's a lot of comments. So if anyone missed anything, just let me know. Beatty has too much potential. I'm happy they called him up. No, it was needed. It was the right time. LD Sports says Nito has 6 hits out of 51 at bats. Get him out of here and bench him for. No, and I agree. And I mean, it's not like defensively he's an elite defensive catcher like Realmuto or Grandal or Hedges or Francisco Alvarez, where his defense keeps him worthy. His defense is ass on both sides. He's bad. So what's the point of keeping him out there? If his defense was great and it could make up for the offense, sure, but he's not doing anything. Could Lindor be depressed we didn't get Correa? I don't think that's the issue. I don't really think he cares about that. mean, look at it last year. He was best friends with Baez, or 2021, he was best friends with Baez. The Mets didn't get him 2022, and look how he played. I'm sure Lindor would have liked to have Baez, but he played decent last year, Lindor. So I don't think that's the issue. Epler needs to be fired. He didn't address a single issue this offseason. Diaz got hurt, didn't do anything, no power bats or any bats. Yeah. I'm glad everyone agrees with me. Bad bullpens are the worst. They are. I think a big problem is Marte too. Move him 6th or 9th, and that's what they're going to do. Marte's hurt. Something's wrong with Marte. Something's wrong with him. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they start playing him less or keeping him really down in the lineup. Marte is good, but just in a big slot. Yeah, I don't know what it is with him. He's a proven player, but he's hurt. Something's wrong with him. I love GM, absolutely. Alvarez has a cannon. He does. Yeah, and I mean, it's crazy to think Senga's the best guy in this roster. It's mind-boggling. Or the best pitcher. It's the starting pitching and losing Diaz, Carrasco, Verlander, Scherzer, and Quintana early created a ripple effect for the team. Couldn't survive. Need to try and stabilize somewhat through the rest of May and hopefully right now the ship in June. Yeah, it's the goal. Nats are 3 games behind us. That's sad. Matthew, Matthew says offense isn't that good. Offense isn't that good. Only scoring 6 runs with 7 walks, 9 hits, and a hit by pitch isn't good. And it's crazy to think scoring 6 runs, 7 walks, 9 hits, you think you'd win. Isn't that sad? I agree. Chile was a scapegoat. I think the Mets need to put Chavez back in his position of hitting coach. You saw it last year. I mean, at least the Mets were able to hit with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. That's the only difference you could say this team offensively compared to last year. But we'll see. Otherwise, yeah, if anyone else has any more comments, questions, concerns, please feel free to drop it in the comment section below. Tampa Bay Rays walking off against the Yankees. I guess that's good. But yeah, I mean, just overall, a really unfortunate week for the New York Mets playing baseball. Buck Showalter shares his thoughts and was asked if he's worried about the rotation. I don't know. The treadmill owner. And that's the thing. If I'm going to complain anything about Buck, I think he needs to start holding his guys accountable. He may do it in private. He doesn't do it in public. And I think Buck, my only complaint about him is he needs to hype these guys up and fire these guys up. And that's sad that with what this team has come to, that Buck or someone, the manager, needs to hype these guys up to win a ball game. That's sad. Against the Colorado Rockies or Nationals or the Reds. That's sad. I think Buck, I'm not saying, whether he gets ejected or tossed, but he needs to go nuts on this team. And hopefully they're getting their ass yelled at in that clubhouse. I guarantee you it's going to be a miserable flight to Cincinnati. It's going to be a miserable ride back home to the airport. Hopefully it is. Because these guys are major leaguers. I'm done with the excuses of not performing. I get it. Guys have slumps. Guys can only do so much at certain times. But it looks horrible. Absolutely horrible, this team right now. All cylinders. Starting pitching, offense, everything. They're an average team or below average team in 99% of the factors right now. Track record and what these guys have done, they are a good team, but they're not doing it right now. So that means they're a bad team, which is true. If you don't perform, you're not a good team. That's how baseball works. Baseball is a result-oriented game. I don't care about the expected and, you should have done this. A result's a result, and that determines it. If you get robbed for a homer or a hit, okay, that's one thing. But right now, the Mets are 1-5 in April against 2 bad teams. Not good. Not good at all. I think Showalter needs to hype these guys up. You saw 2019, Brody Van Wagenen went AWOL on the Mets in the clubhouse, and they went on to go 14 out of their next 15 in terms of wins. They need to fire these guys up. I'm not saying, you need a benches clearing brawl or an ejection from the manager or someone, but You need to fire these guys up somehow. This team is an absolute joke. And you know what? If they're going to continue to go out and play like this and they're not going to recover, okay, have fun in fourth place. They will be the laughingstock of baseball this season. Bigger laughingstock than the Cardinals. You know, I mean, Cardinals are hitting. Cardinals' main concern is their pitching. Sure. Goldie's doing well. Arenado's not doing great. You know, Jordan Walker's not doing great. They have a couple holes in their lineup. But I think they're playing a little bit better than the Mets. If the Mets go on, continue to do what they're doing, they will be the laughing stock of baseball. Lol Mets, $300, $400 million lineup to only finish in this place. And you know what? Braves, Phillies fans, they should have all the bragging rights. You know, I get it. Last year, the Braves and Phillies came back, but at least when they were losing, at least they played decent. At least they were scoring runs and hitting, pitching. The Mets aren't doing any of that. And it's not like right now you could say, oh, wait, DeGrom's coming back, or, this guy's out. This is what you have. I mean, who are you waiting to get back? Carrasco? Like, he's going to spark this team? Quintana? In like 2 months from now? Who are you waiting for? Well, I mean, you can call it Vientos, sure, but he can only, like I said, how much can he contribute? I mean, yeah, maybe if you see a lineup where, you have Beatty, Alvarez, Vientos, and they're hitting, and then you mix that in with Nimmo, Alonso, McNeil, okay. But, like, what the heck are we doing? I'm very, very upset right now. I'm happy there's an off day tomorrow, so I don't even have to watch the Mets game. And, honestly, I mean, I don't even want to watch the games. It sucks because, diehard Mets fan. I've been a Mets fan since I was born. 21 years ago, I've been a Mets fan. And, yeah, I mean, there's been worse times where, in 2017, 2018, and some other years where they're like, 20 games under 500. But the fact is that Cohen took over 2020, and 2021 was not really a good year. 2022 was great, historic year, and then you're going back now. The Mets are going back. You should be moving ahead. I feel Billy Epler honestly brought this team back a couple years. Drafting, farm system, okay, that's good. But what could someone in Double-A do right now for this Mets team? Yeah, Vientos, Alvarez, Beatty, they can contribute, but how much can they contribute? They don't pitch. They only hit 3 times out of the 9 in that order. Billy Epler set this team up. And how is he looking now? Vogelbach, Pham, Escobar. What are we doing? So, we'll see. It's on here for an hour and 13, a good rant, a little tweet says, as they say, Mets will go as far as Francisco Lindor and Pete Alonso take them. Over their last 14 games, they're combined for 17 for 95, which translates to a 179 average with 2 homers and 29 Ks. Mets are 311 in that stretch. And that exactly sums up that the Mets rely on those 2 guys to win all their games. And you can't do that. Do you see the Braves just rely on Acuna and Austin Riley to win games? Do you see the Phillies just relying on Harper and Hoskins to win games? Do you see, any other team relying on 2 guys? No, it's a team effort. Last I checked, there's 9 guys in an order. It's not Alonso, Lindor, Alonso, Lindor, Alonso, Lindor. Nimmo, McNeil, Alonso, Lindor can only do so much. Same for Beatty and Alvarez. There's pitching, there's a bullpen, there's other guys that have to contribute and are not. So, otherwise, final thoughts. If anyone else has any comments, questions, concerns, please feel free to drop them. Probably going to call it a stream. I do apologize if things got a little stressful, if my language wasn't the best, but it's been a really frustrating last couple of days, last couple of series, and last couple of weeks. I don't really get what there is to do. The Mets need change. ASAP. They need to change things up as soon as possible. And it's not like you could hope for anyone else. It's not like you have anyone else that's returning from an injury or anything like that. So, yeah. If anyone else has any more comments, questions, concerns, I posted 56 minutes ago on Twitter. Live stream today at 5. Please feel free to tune with any comments and questions 56 minutes ago. So if you want to like that. But yeah, otherwise, I really do appreciate everyone for tuning into the stream as always. It was a good stream. I do apologize, like I said, if got a little much. Just very stressful with the Mets. It's hard to watch these games, and it comes to the point where these games are unwatchable. I can't even watch the game. And last year at this time, at this point last year, we had 2 late inning comebacks, a walk-off, a combined no-hitter. And really frustrating watching this team after watching 2022 have so much early magic on. If they were playing, if they were 5 or 6 games above, I'd take that. And, people said, oh, well, when May comes, that's when we'll get a lot of wins against the Nationals, the Tigers, the Rockies, the Nationals, the Reds, and you're not even winning series against them. This team takes 2 or 3 from the Dodgers, 2 or 3 from the Padres, and then you go out and you play teams that you're supposed to beat and you can't. So we'll see. Otherwise, very stressful, but we will be wrapping it up here. I do appreciate everybody for tuning into today's stream as always. Please give this video a like, comment, subscribe, turn on this post notification so you never miss a stream or video. If you're already watching this on replay, I appreciate everyone for tuning in as always. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you can follow me at Mets Hayden. I am home. Obviously, college is in the books for this year. So I'll be having a fun summer, working, ripping my head off with the Mets. Otherwise, yeah, that's really all I have. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. I'm very frustrated. I really am. It's tough to watch this team. Very tough right now. And early on, team looks tremendously different than what we have seen the last couple weeks. It's been a rough start to the season. And I tell you, I don't think I can handle another 2021 season or anything worse than that. I don't think any Mets fan will handle that. Right now, if Cohen and the Mets organization wants to see fans in the stands and people coming to games, they need change. Because I guarantee you, if there was a game tomorrow, no one would go at Citi Field. No one would go. I wouldn't. I live in Florida, and I'm debating, hey, would I, should I fly to New York for a Mets game? Not like this. Why would I waste my money and see them, have a starter go 3 innings? So we'll see. Otherwise, I appreciate everyone for tuning into the stream as always. Let's go Mets. Mets, Reds, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They have an off day tomorrow, so hopefully it could change something up on the road. Yeah, otherwise, I appreciate everybody for tuning into the stream as always. And yeah, LFGM, let's go Mets. Let's ride, baby. Until next time, baseball fans, see ya.